Bob, 3 games in 4 days, long trip. Did you need the time off? How did you utilize the 3 or 4 days that you had between now and then?
I laid on the couch. Laid on the couch and rested. No, we gave them 2 days off, and when it went yesterday, didn't go hard yesterday, just kind of familiarized them with Xavier and what they like to do. And we're gonna hit it hard here the next 2 days.
So what does Xavier like to do? You got to see them in person when you were out there. So
They score. They really score. I mean, when you got a 7-footer who can step out and make threes at a really alarming rate for an opponent, it's, to drag your big that far away from the goal is a tremendous advantage for them. They got a bunch of guys make shots. I mean, they really have a very good team of guys that are very capable of making shots. They're shooting over 50% from three. I think it's 52% from three as a team. You don't see that often.
John Antonic.
Some of your best Xavier memories. I know that's a place that you guys have battled with Cincinnati all those years. Give me a couple of quick memories.
I don't have any good thoughts of Xavier whatsoever. None. Absolutely none. We played in the old field house where Oscar and Wayne Embry and everybody played. That was an NBA arena. We played there, and then I think we flip-flopped either playing on campus at UC or playing on campus at Xavier.
It was Riverfront, right? Along the when that took place?
No, it was the old Cincinnati Gardens.
Cincinnati Gardens. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We'd never played Xavier downtown that I recall. We did play downtown.
Mm-hmm.
We brought some people in to play downtown, but not Xavier.
What was your thoughts of Cincinnati Gardens?
It was kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. It's basically, you're there and the smell of the popcorn.
Yeah.
And the hot dogs and everything. It was really neat. And then, you're sitting there and Oscar walks in and Connie Durking, and a lot of the former Royals walked in. It was neat.
I saw a video. They just tore that place down a few years ago, right?
Yeah. They tore everything down in that whole development there.
Right.
The places across the street, my understanding, was where a lot of the Royals lived. Real easy walk to work.
Greg Hunter.
So you may not have had good memories, but give us one or two that maybe PG-13 type memories, even bad ones. What are the ones that stick out to you?
Probably early on. Pete and I didn't get along very well. But then, it all changed. Pete and I got along very well after that. Actually, Pete did our game in Mexico. He was the TV guy. No one talks faster than Pete Gillen. No one. He can get words out in a hurry. But yeah, we got to be good friends. Actually, Skip and I were very good friends. I think to the point where we both agreed that when we retired, him from Xavier, myself from UC, that we would get together once a week and just sit around, have a couple of beers and talk, go to his place one week, next week, go to my place. And, just kind of sit around and talk about the state of college basketball or whatever it is we were talking about that particular day. And really looking forward to it. And unfortunately, Skip passed. And I was actually with him the night before. I wasn't at the same table. He had his assistant coaches there at the table, but I was right across from him. And we were talking back and forth. And then he passed away the next morning.
I think you've maintained that rivalry you see in Xavier was even more intense than Pitt, West Virginia. You say that still?
Didn't fight like we used to, but other than that, yeah, it's quite a rivalry. I think probably more so from their side than from the UC side.
Kevin Kinder.
Coach, I know your views on learning lessons out of a loss or after a loss, but did you find anything out about your team from the way they competed against Purdue and then the way they bounced back in those next two games?
We had stretches where we played very well against Purdue. We cut it to 4, I think twice. And we weren't as consistent with it as what we need to be. And that's kind of what our team's been. You know, we'll go on big runs, and then we kind of don't go on any run for a while. And the opponent has a tendency to catch back up, then we'll go on another run. But we just need to be more consistent.
I know obviously you're not going to go on 10-0 runs, at several different stretches in a game. When you say more consistent, though, is it just avoiding those 10-2 droughts, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Justin Jackson.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good, Justin. I can't see you.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. You don't want to see me today.
Okay.
Hey, obviously, with this Big East, Big 12 battle, I think is what it's called, these challenge kind of games. It's the last year for the Big 12 SEC challenge. And I know they're set up already with the ACC, I believe. So does that set up an opportunity for the Big 12 to get with the Big 10, or would you like to see maybe something else develop?
Justin, I really don't know a whole lot about it other than I read yesterday that we could have a challenge with conceivably a couple different leagues.
Right.
I think the Big 10 being one, and the ACC. I think it was the ACC.
That as far as scheduling purposes go, they provide a good these challenges provide a good non-conference game. But I mean, are you a fan of these challenge series, or do they hold any other meaning other than just one extra game? Or
it doesn't make any difference to me one way or the other. I think we've tried to play a very competitive non-conference schedule regardless. So, another game in there really doesn't make all that much difference.
Bob, are you there?
Yeah, sure am.
Go ahead.
Bob, I just started thinking, which is always dangerous. And you've had the privilege, I guess it is, to coach at the school where Oscar played and school where Jerry played. And now you're a Hall of Famer, in there with him. What are your thoughts on that? On those two guys? They were at the same time. They should have got to an NCAA final, never did. Oscar, of course, was a Royal.
Well, Bob, in all honesty, they were both absolutely terrific to me. Absolutely terrific. Oscar came to virtually every practice. Actually, I got together when I first got there with Oscar and Coach Smith. And Oscar thought the world of Coach Smith, and justifiably so. So I got to know those guys really well, and hear them talk about the old days and what went good and what went bad in the old days. And Oscar was at virtually every practice spot. I mean, he'd come in and he'd sit down and he'd watch, he'd talk to the guys. He was fantastic. And then when I came here, you know, obviously, Jerry came here and we got to know Jerry very, very well. And I don't know, I'm blessed. I mean, how many people, you know, can say they go to work and they hang out with Jerry West and Oscar Robertson. I mean, what a great deal that is. And when I got the call about the induction in the Hall of Fame, and the guy said, you know, you need a presenter or a few presenters. The first thing I did was get on the phone and call Jerry, and Jerry immediately said, yes, I'd love to do that. And talked to Jerry for quite a while and hung up and called Rod Thorne, and Rod said, I'd love to do that. So, you know, I've been blessed, man. I mean, I've been blessed. Those guys are guys that, you know, when you grow up in Doug Hill, you don't get out of the hollow much. So I was fortunate that, you know, my dad was a basketball player. My dad, you know, played here at the university for a brief time, and then Alderson brought us. So it's been really neat for me to be able to have some association with the greatest players to ever play our game.
You kind of feel like I do, that the world missed a little something by not getting those two to play, you know, in an NCAA final.
That would have been an unbelievable thing to see, for sure. You know, they both had their own style. You know, Jerry was drive it hard at you and stop on a dime and go straight up and straight down. I can remember him saying he drew a circle and went up in the circle and came down in the circle, never out of the circle. And Oscar was much, much different. You know, Oscar kind of had that ball back over his head a little bit, but he was the first, I think, power guard. I mean, he was a big, strong, physical guy that just kind of knocked people off of him. And both of them, I mean, they were two of the best players to ever play our game. And to watch old film of those two guys going at each other I could have done it all day.
Thanks.
Back to you, John.
Did you coach when you played Xavier? Did you make all the games, or I mean, did you finish all the games? Or you didn't get thrown out any of the Xavier games, did you?
I can't recall.
You know, the thing about this rivalry is that both teams were good. I mean, it's one thing. I knew you guys were what, 4 miles away. The campuses were like 4 miles away, something like that.
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one thing to play each other and have one team that's good or another team that's not good. But when you guys were at its peak in the 90s, when Pete had it going, you guys were both good teams. So it had national implications, the game, didn't it? Very
rarely did we play that we both weren't ranked.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely. Skip had it going. I mean,
yeah,
Pete left and Skip really had it rolling. They were good. They were really good. And Skip obviously was a heck of a coach. He's almost a West Virginia guy. Did you know that?
Yeah, Wheeling Central. I played against him.
Yeah.
Dino came after him.
Yeah, he just grew up on the other side of the river. That's all.
Yeah. Didn't they get you the year you had the great team with Kenyon?
I don't remember. They may have.
Yeah, I think it was one of the 2 losses you had that year, right? Before the tournament.
Honestly, John, I don't remember.
Gotcha. Yeah. Was it fun for you?
Kenyon got hurt in one of those games, but I don't remember which one.
Was it you like going into like hostile places? And that seemed to be one of those environments that you got your juices flowing, didn't it?
I could say a lot of things here, John, but I'm not going to. What's that?
Can't get it out of you, huh?
No.
Yeah.
No, Mess is sitting over here. If Mess wasn't here, I could really dive into it with you.
Dive into it a little bit. So you're not going to give us a story.
Mess is sitting over here saying, shh.
Greg Hunter is wanting to get one, and Pertzel's looking for one. We're looking for one good Xavier story.
Oh, well, I could tell you who to call.
Okay.
If you call any of those guys at WLW, I mean, you talk about loudmouths now. I mean,
They got something.
Oh, call Cunningham. Cunningham's a big Xavier guy. He'll give you the Xavier slant, which is going to be a lie probably, but it'll be a good story.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun for you to walk into that gym again on Saturday, I'm sure.
Why?
Because you're going to have all those people who are going to remember you and call your name out, and you have to deal with all that. You like that.
They will call names out. Yes. I kind of like walking into the Coliseum personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking around, 14,000 in the seats.
Well, you were never against sticking the needle in them when you could too.
Where?
On
No,
interviews, whatnot.
I was never combative, ever. Let me tell you something. If the same thing happened to you, you'd be much more combative than I was. How's that?
Maybe.
Greg?
All right, so I'll move away from Xavier for a second, but ask you a question we've asked many times. Anything new on Jose Perez?
No,
No?
really, no. We're still waiting. He's still waiting.
I know he can travel with you, or at least he did. I mean, he can't practice. Can he get up shots in the practice facility? What can he do?
Oh, he's allowed to take shots. He's not allowed to take shots with us in there. I mean, he'll come in, sit and watch practice. He doesn't shoot on the side or anything. He watches practice, and then he can come in here on his own, just like anybody else can, and get shots up. Sure.
Kevin?
It's following up on the consistency thing. I know one of your concerns start of the season was too much dribbling by the point guards, the ball sticking, not being in place. Feels like that improved some in the past couple games. What level is that in your view? And does it have to get better, or how much better?
I think we can continue to get better. I think they have gotten better. I mean, it's not one position. It's a unified effort to throw the ball away. Be it a guard, forward, or center. They don't really care which one. They'll throw it away with the best of them. We gotta stop it. We force things. We make bad passes. It's hard to. You ever try to field a basketball around your ankles? It's rough. It's rough. You don't have a glove like you have in softball or baseball. We just need to do a better job of passing the ball, not throwing the ball. We throw it. We don't necessarily pass it.
Is it fair to say, though, that it's the execution that you're most concerned, that this team is still trying to pass the ball, is trying to move it?
Well, I would say this: if we were down where we should be to 3 or 4 turnovers a game, we probably would be undefeated right now.
We'll do Justin and then Mike.
Hey, Coach, you were talking about Xavier earlier, the big guy. Obviously, you talked about his 3-point shooting, but it looks like their guards have really good size. Probably got like 4 or 5 guys that can shoot the 3. Just what kind of challenge do you face here against Xavier?
Well, I think you're correct in saying their guards have great size. They're going to play 2 guards that are 6'3", 163, 164.
Right.
And they like to find ways to turn them loose at the rim because they're really good finishers because of their size. And then then they're going to play a 7-footer and another 6'10", 6'11" at the same time. And we haven't played against that. Purdue didn't have that.
Right.
They're just, I mean, they're a really good basketball team, and they're aged. He's not playing young guys. He's playing guys that have played in big games for really a lot of years. He's got guys that have played at other programs where they're playing in front of and against really good competition, but playing in front of a large crowd. So he's got veteran guys. He's got veteran guys who know what it's all about. And Sean's a veteran guy. I mean, Sean's had a great career.
I'm almost kind of wondering, I know people will see Purdue's record and who they beat, and obviously they're in the top 5 now or whatever, and people will say, okay, well, Purdue is probably a tougher matchup. I'm wondering if this Xavier game might be a tougher matchup for you guys than Purdue was.
Not unless they trade for the 7-4 guy.
Okay, right.
He's a load now.
Right.
I think their bigs are much more versatile. I didn't see the big fella out there shooting threes.
Yeah.
Their 7-footer will go out and shoot threes. Actually, both those bigs will go out and shoot threes.
Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Wonderful, Mike. How you doing?
I was going to say wonderful, but you beat me to it. Your rivalry here with Xavier.
Hang out at school with wonderful Warren.
Wasn't that lucky, no?
Yeah, you weren't that lucky.
Yeah. The rivalry with Xavier, is it any different with going across at a coach and have some, I don't know, I think you like him if I remember the Dayton game and all those stories years ago, but you have a bit of a history with him, and does it change the dynamic of this one at all?
No, I don't think so. I've known Sean since Sean was a kid. His father, my father, went to Ed McCluskey basketball camp in Erie, Pennsylvania. And, my first years, I was the gopher. I was the guy who ran around, picked up all the balls, counted all the balls, and made sure they were in the ball rack. And then I got older, and Sean came in, and he was a little fella, and Sean got to chase the balls around, take them over, put them in the ball rack, and make sure he had them all accounted for. A lot of similarities.
Perfect. A couple more wins, first loss, but you saw some good competition. You played, a number of games in a small number of time. How do you think your team is different? Haven't been out west and come back now.
Well, I thought by and large we played pretty well. We just throw it around too much, Mike. We've got to take better care of the basketball. We throw it around like that against Xavier. It's going to be a long night. They have a lot of veterans. They'll have it going the other way. And then you stop and think about it. We had to cut to 4 against Purdue. Purdue may be the best team in the country right now. And we had to cut to 4, and then we just threw the ball to them. That's how we stop.
Finish up with you, Justin.
Hey, Coach, just kind of wondering, Trey and Emmett, obviously we're dealing with the health problems out there in Portland. I'm kind of wondering if everyone's kind of recovered from that. And then also, with the way Trey played the other night against Florida, it seems like he's really beginning to, kind of establish himself more on this team and not just as a new guy coming in.
Justin, basically our whole team was sick.
Yeah.
To different extents. Some guys were real sick and other guys were just feeling bad. And I think Emma was sick from the time he left Morgantown, basically until he got back. But we had a lot of sick guys. And we probably at the height of it, we probably had 6 or 7 guys with stomach flu.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of them, really all of them tried to play through it. It was a hard thing to play through.
Made for a light Thanksgiving dinner then, I guess, right?
I don't think they ate much, to be honest with you. Ate some ice cream.
On Trey, do you see him becoming more of a matchup problem for teams?
I think he could be, yeah. You know, he's equally as good facing the basket or had playing with his back to the basket, which makes him a hard matchup.
Right.